When it comes to Pokemon, I'm sure we're all the most excited for Pokemon Legends ZA. However, there's another game releasing that plans to completely change how we see the competitive side of Pokemon. And that game is Pokémon Champions. So today on Game Rant, let's talk about how this title might just be one of the greatest additions we've seen in this franchise. Now, to the average gamer, the competitive side of Pokemon probably sounds like something easy to get into. I mean, completing a title within the franchise is pretty simple, even if you don't pay attention to type advantages. How hard could it be to face a human opponent, right? Well, trust me when I say that competitive Pokemon is anything but easy. Think about it. There are over 1,000 Pokemon and hundreds of moves out there. That leaves you with countless puzzle pieces to choose from to form your balanced dream team. On top of that, it makes predicting what your opponent will do each turn all the more difficult. For example, you may see a Charizard and assume it's going to use a special attack fire move like Fire Blast. But it's possible that his trainer went for a more physical build and taught it moves it wouldn't normally have like Earthquake. This makes each battle feel like an intense match where you can easily get overwhelmed if you don't guess correctly. Believe it or not though, this is only a small fraction of what makes competitive Pokemon so tedious. The biggest factor has to do with actually building these teams. See, each Pokemon stats are determined by three very important mechanics: IVs, EVs, and nature. IVs, meaning individual values, are static numbers tied to each stat. They range from 0 to 31 and basically determine that Pokemon's potential. If the number is maxed out, then the corresponding stat can reach its maximum. However, if it isn't, then the Pokemon won't be as strong as it could be. This can be extremely detrimental for competitive play, because you'll always want your Pokemon to be as fast, tanky, or strong as the game allows. Not doing so is like playing an FPS with a terrible gun on purpose. Luckily, features have been added to make it easier to get the IVs that you want, but you can't fully control them. In a lot of cases, you may have to hatch a completely new egg if you want another try at the best IVs, leading to many trainers spending the post-game hatching countless eggs just to get the right ones. As someone who has been dealing with this since Gen 4, I can't stress enough how time-consuming this is. But it gets worse. There are also natures, the mechanic that decides which stats a Pokemon will be proficient at. For example, a Pokemon with an adamant nature will be most proficient with its attack, at the cost of having weak special attack. This is also something that is decided once you hatch or catch a Pokemon. Luckily, with the inclusion of mints, it can be changed afterwards, but this is still yet another variable trainers have to be aware of when raising a Pokemon. And last, we have EVs, meaning effort values. Think of this as the points you invest in each stat to make them grow. Each Pokemon has a max of 510, and they're earned by fighting specific Pokemon or using vitamins like protein or carbos. For example, Fletchling gives 1 speed EV point when beaten. So if you want to max out a Pokemon's speed, you need to make sure it has 31 IVs in that stat, has a nature like Jolly that promotes speed, and face off against a bunch of Pokemon like Fletchling to continue building points. Like the last two mechanics, features were made to make this a little easier, but it's still not that beginner friendly, especially because both IVs and EVs are predominantly hidden. To make Pokemon feel like real creatures, the game is never truly clear about how many IVs or EVs one has. With all this, I'm sure you can tell how much it takes to build the team you want. And we haven't even discussed special abilities or egg moves. Due to the effort required, most trainers spend hours at the drawing board before even starting to hatch Pokemon. Tools like Pokemon Showdown have been a godsend because they allow you to build a team exactly how you want it to see if it's actually competitively viable. That way you don't have to waste hours running around the map hatching Pokemon eggs. However, with the upcoming game Pokémon Champions, Game Freak seems to be trying to streamline all of this. For those unaware, Pokémon Champions is a new title that is focused on battling. It'll be available for free on Nintendo Switch systems and mobile. Within the game, you'll have the option of building a team from your Pokemon in Pokemon Home, or recruiting Pokemon from Champions itself. This already makes competitive battling more accessible because you won't need a Switch to get in on the fun. And one of the best parts is that you can try Pokemon for 7 days before fully committing to them. Once you've tried them out in a few battles, you can permanently recruit them using victory points, the in-game currency. These points can only be acquired by playing the game, and they can do much more than simply recruit Pokemon. They can also be used to train them. Using VP, you can customize almost everything about your Pokemon. This includes its moves, stats, ability, and nature. When it comes to the stats, it looks like you can only alter EVs, as nothing has been shown regarding customizing IVs. Regardless, this is a huge win for competitive battlers. With Champions, so much of the busy work for building a team is being taken away. It's almost like the ease of Pokemon Showdown inspired its creation. What makes this even better is, of course, the cross-platform capabilities. If you play Pokemon on Switch and enjoy building your own teams, you can still do that, but now you have a designated place to battle. However, if you're more casual and want to try out competitive Pokemon without the time sink, that's now possible on your phone. Additionally, since the game isn't coming out until next year, there is still so much more that may be announced. Maybe we'll get even more features that will make team building easier. Since this is planned to be the new home for official Pokemon tournaments, I think it would be amazing to give players the tools to carry out all the strats they can dream of. As someone who loves the competitive side of Pokemon, but is very aware of the barrier of entry, I think this is a monumental step for the franchise. I've always had ideas for teams that I wanted to try, but the time spent hatching and training always dissuaded me from ever creating those teams. I think Pokémon Champions will give me and a lot of reluctant players the chance to truly dive into the competitive scene. Maybe we'll even see more unique teams and a variety of new faces in tournaments. The possibilities are endless. But for now, let us know how you feel about Pokémon Champions. Are you looking forward to it, or are you just excited for Pokémon Legends ZA? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Until next time, thanks for watching and happy gaming.